Before my injury, I was like a really upbeat person. I was always doing new things. I was kind of the person that always had too much on their plate, but it never bothered me. I kind of could do whatever in the day, and even if I was tired, it was a regular person's tired. I had passions, I had goals. I always hung out with my friends, and I was pretty much down to do anything. Pretty much anything was within my reach. Before my injury. So I hit my head at work. It was just a freak incident. It was nothing crazy, but it wasn't my first hit to the head. I had a couple from sports growing up, and then I had a few from a couple other silly accidents. And I guess just this last one in April 23rd of 2021 was just the last one that just pushed me over the edge, and I just wasn't the same since. So immediately after my injury, I just thought it was gonna be another concussion or whatever, but that was definitely not the case. I had a massive headache, and I was disoriented, dizzy, and just major confusion, and I just was feeling completely off for the first couple weeks. And I guess every time I was just when am I gonna get better? When am I gonna get better? Because I just assumed everyone gets better from a concussion, or that was just kind of the starting point of it. And then the vision issues came, and then the vestibular issues came. And along with that came obviously emotional and mental health disturbances in my life as well, because of the scope of my injury. The first 4 months of my injury were a living hell. I pretty much just laid in bed. I'd have food brought to me. I could barely stand up to go to the bathroom because I just couldn't. The best way I can describe it without sounding overly dramatic, but I couldn't rely on myself. I couldn't rely on my body, and it was really scary. Probably the 5 or 6 month mark is kind of where it really hit me emotionally, because it pushed me into a full-blown depression. I didn't really care about recovering anymore, which is really hard. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't think I was gonna cry, but yeah, I just didn't really I just kind of lost a lot of hope, especially because I had so many people telling me there's nothing wrong with you, medical professionals, family, friends, pretty much anybody who just saw me because I looked like a normal person, but I was so far from that. I was just a shell of the human being I used to be. After that, I got really depressed, and it was just kind of I just did not care at all. It wasn't even just sadness it was before, and extreme sadness where I was crying, whatever. It was just so depressed that it's just I didn't even feel I wanted to do it anymore. And there was days where I was I just really can't, when 1 year comes up, I'm just over it. I just can't do it anymore, which is a horrible thought to think that if 1 year comes up, I'm just gonna end it all. Went completely downhill after the exhaustion of so much disappointment and grief kind of thing. So I went to multiple different clinics. One was just a general physio clinic, because again, it was just I was uneducated about the scope of brain injuries on my part. So honestly, I just kind of found a physio that had experience with concussions, and I went to them. Or 3 months passed, and they were hey, well, we showed you all the exercises we have for you. I don't know what to do. That's pretty much what they told me, and they were this is all anybody can ever do for you, and the rest is just dealing with it. And that completely broke my heart, because I was I'm 19 years old, and you did what I'm gonna say maybe 15 weeks of treatment, and then that's it. But then I found another concussion clinic in my city. They definitely helped me progress a lot with my vision. They were kind of the first ones that gave me a bit more hope of recovery a little bit. But then again, it kind of got to the point where I hit a plateau again in my recovery, and I was not able to progress anymore, which was again disappointing. And so I found CFX just by a really weird search. So obviously I'm super into research, super into science, and I was I am going to cure myself. I was if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then I found an article, I think it was done by the Toronto News, and the title was a girl from Guelph gets cured from post-concussive syndrome. And I read the article, and it was she tried all the same clinics that I tried and all the same type of therapies, and then it was reading my story but another person saying it. It was the exact same thing, and that was the first time I was okay, I'm not crazy, this is real, and someone else is experiencing it. And then the article talks about how she went all the way down to Utah for treatment from Toronto, or Ontario, Canada, And like, she's like perfectly fine now. Like, she got her life back. And I was like, okay, I need to like find this girl. So put my detective hat on and I found her on Instagram, and I was like, I know this is weird. I know you don't know who I am, but I need to talk to you and you need to tell me like your story. And she basically just told me all about cognitive effects, and then I did like months and months of my own research and like consultations, and then I even asked other people what their thoughts were about it, and I watched tons and tons of like these testimonials, and I was like, okay, I have to come here. Like, this is like kind of like my last hope in a way. So like the first day I got here, I kind of like was like really nervous because I just didn't really know what to expect. And everybody was so nice. That was the one thing I noticed, is like it was so nice, and it was like really easy to just like be myself with an injury without having to feel like I'm like annoying. Before I could even say it, they were like, do you want us to dim the lights? Or like, is the light, or do you want the windows closed? Or like, how are you feeling today? It's like they already asked without me having to tell them, or even like feel like I'm like anxious about them not knowing how I feel or how much it's bothering me. They like, when they first pulled out that book with my report of findings with like all the different charts, I was like, it was just so refreshing to see like my like symptoms on paper and like proof of it, because like there's no kind of technology that had done that for me before. And I was like, to see like, yes, like this, like your right hippocampus isn't working properly, and like this isn't working properly, like you're like there's hyperactivity or hypoactivity in this area, kind of those kinds of things. It was just really nice to be also around other people who were experiencing the same thing, and again like sharing those patients' stories, even though maybe like the way we got our injury was different. And then I'm gonna say like the third day is when I was kind of like, something is working, because I was sitting in a room with all the patients and like everybody was talking, and I was like, I can actually hold a conversation. Like I can actually like really talk. But like, I don't think I felt great that day yet, but I was like, you know what, something is like changing a little bit. Like I was like, I don't feel like having the lights turned off, and I don't feel like everybody like leaving me in a quiet room. Like I feel like I can sit here and enjoy the conversation. And then I'm gonna say the very like last day of treatment, I was like the happiest person again. And it's like, I could talk like so much, and I felt bad because I was probably like talking everybody's ear off, but it was the first time in over a year where I was like, it is not exhausting to have a conversation. Like it is not like mentally and physically fatiguing. That was like the best part. I felt like mentally sharper again, which I didn't even realize was like, that would be like such a great feeling and would change so much about how I felt. But it was like pretty great to feel like a little bit like myself again. Actually, this was my first week back to running again. I wasn't able to run for like a full year and a half because every time I would try to run, I would just fall over. Because my vision would just like go out. So I'm excited to run again. And I like got to run like towards the mountains and stuff, which was like such a surreal experience. Like I was like, I'm running, like I'm moving faster, and I don't feel like my vision's like giving out or I can't comprehend what's going on. Like I see the trees passing by me, I see like the pavement lines moving. Like I think that my goals are now like to 100% recover. Like I know it's gonna probably take me a long time to get back to 100%, but it's like, I wanna do it. Like I feel the hope now. Like I feel like it is possible. It's just gonna take a lot of hard work, and I'm not afraid of hard work. Like I will like do whatever it takes. And I'm excited to spread the news. I'm excited to like teach people on it. And I think this has really changed like what I wanna do in life. I really thought like pharmaceutical toxicology was gonna be my life, but I think it's something different now. I think it's gonna be something with this. Like I just wanna help people. So yeah, I'm gonna cry.